Hi, it's Katrina. My friend David is going to be helping me out with the voiceover today, so everyone give him a warm welcome.
Number 10. The Resurrection. The Resurrection is a sculpture at the Vatican that might be the creepiest thing you've never seen. Some have called it the demonic idol in the Vatican simply because it looks like something that belongs in the underworld. The sculpture depicts the resurrection of Jesus and is the current backdrop behind the stage of the audience hall of Paul VI. The sculpture looks like a demonic representation of Satan as a serpent. Even weirder is that the design of the hall has been associated with other snake imagery. This is where the Pope holds his weekly audience whenever he can't make an appearance outside at St. Peter's Square due to weather. The hall itself was designed by architect and engineer Pier Luigi Nervi in 1964. The building was inaugurated in 1971, and the resurrection was installed in 1977 by sculptor Pericle Fazzini. The sculpture is a whopping 66 feet, 20 meters long, and 23 feet, 7 meters tall. It's supposed to be a symbol of the resurrection, something awe-inspiring to make people think about the second coming of Christ. At the center is the image of Christ rising through a chaos of what appear to be twisted black souls. But to many, it looks like a demonic serpent rising up from the depths of hell. Some have speculated the sculpture secretly represents the birth of the Antichrist, which many believe will appear at the end of days in the Vatican itself. Number 9. Proof of aliens. Hiding somewhere in the 17 million pages of documents stashed in the Vatican secret archive is supposedly proof of extraterrestrial life. Keep in mind, this is nothing but a conspiracy theory at the moment, but it's one of the most popular theories out there. Cardinal Conrado Balducci of the Vatican once stated that meetings with aliens should not be seen as demonic, and that instead they deserve to be carefully studied. He also went on to say that it's reasonable to believe in alien life, especially since there is so much evidence in support of them. He even referred to a paragraph in the New Testament in which St. Paul refers to Jesus Christ as King of the universe, not merely King of the world. If this statement is correct, Jesus was explicitly titled as the King of all things in the universe, including aliens. Cardinal Conrado Balducci isn't the only priest who's made a public statement about the acceptance of alien life. However, since he worked at the Vatican, it felt like a huge deal. It was almost as if he was trying to preemptively prepare people for a potential meeting with extraterrestrials. Some say the proof is hiding in the vault of the secret archive, and that the church will only reveal it if absolutely necessary. Number 8. Simanini's letter. Augustin Barruel was one of the first famous conspiracy theorists in history. He published a book in 1797 about a conspiracy that led to the French Revolution. After the work was published, he received a letter from a man named Jean-Baptiste Simanini, who claimed that the Jewish people were also part of the conspiracy. This letter has continued to fuel anti-Semitic conspiracy theories over 200 years later. Now let's take a look at the conspiracy itself. Augustin, who happened to be a Jesuit priest, believed radical philosophers involved with the famous Voltaire stirred up society on purpose. He also believed the Freemasons had something to do with the revolution, and that the Illuminati did too. History tells us the real group called the Illuminati was founded in 1776 in Bavaria. Shortly after, a conspiracy theory emerged that alleged the Illuminati were trying to overthrow the rulers of Europe and transform society. When the French Revolution truly did change society, Augustin Barruel blamed the Illuminati, and he claimed they were the ones pulling the strings. Then came the Simanini letter in 1806. He believed that the Jewish people were behind the Freemasons and the Illuminati, which was enough to convince Augustin. This was the beginning of conspiracy theories that have lasted for centuries, blaming the Illuminati and the Jewish people for everything that goes wrong in the world. The reason we're talking about this today is because the Vatican is supposedly in possession of the original Simanini letter. Many people believe the letter is hiding somewhere in their secret archive. Number 7. The Vatican's revealed archives. The Vatican Secret Archive has roughly 53 miles, 85 kilometers of shelving within it. These shelves are filled with treasures and ancient texts that very few have ever had the privilege of seeing. There are supposedly 35,000 volumes hidden here, an estimated 12 centuries worth of documents, and while the existence of the archive is real, nobody really knows what's hiding inside. The documents and treasures are locked up in a part of the Vatican, built like a fortress, and even though the Vatican has tried to remove the mystery around their archive by changing the name from Secret Archive to Apostolic Archive, the mystery is still very much alive. The only thing the Vatican has ever truly revealed are some interesting tidbits from history. For example, we know about certain documents pertaining to the death of Mary, Queen of Scots. She was executed on February 8, 1587, after reaching out to the Pope, who remained silent. The documents for the excommunication of Martin Luther were also released, showing the truth behind the German man who sparked Protestantism. There are also more secret documents like the transcript for the trials against the Knights Templar when they were framed by the King of France and executed for heresy in 1314. Prior to the Knights Templar being burned to death at the stake, Pope Clement V secretly absolved the group of any wrongdoing in 1308. He then stashed the documents in the secret archive, and they were only made public in 2007. Number 6. The True Cross. The True Cross is a sacred religious artifact that may or may not exist today. The cross is said to be the same chunk of wood upon which Jesus Christ was crucified. As the legend goes, Helena, Constantine the Great's mother, traveled to the Holy Land in 326. While there, she allegedly discovered the hiding spot of the 3 crosses used on the day of Jesus' death. It's been said that the True Cross even had Jesus' name carved into it. Nobody knows exactly what happened to the cross after it was discovered. However, there are a lot of churches around the world who claim to have fragments of it. The cross was supposedly busted into pieces and little slivers made their way throughout Europe. One of the fragments is said to be kept at the Waterford Cathedral in Ireland, but Oxford University did radiocarbon tests in 2016 and found the fragment to be from the 11th century. At the Vatican, one of their most prized relics is the Crux Vaticana, which is a priceless religious artifact crafted in the 6th century. It's about a foot, 0.3 meters high, totally encrusted with jewels and made from solid gold. The incredibly valuable artifact is said to contain multiple shards of the True Cross inside of it. However, the Vatican has never tested those shards to get any kind of official dating to see if they might be real. Do you believe the Vatican has proof of extraterrestrial life and is refusing to share it with the rest of the world? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Number 5. Peruvian mummies. What you might not expect the Vatican to be hoarding are ancient mummies from across the world. And yet, the Vatican museums hold thousands of prehistoric remains, some dating back over 2 million years. They have collected these ancient bodies from across the globe, including mummies from as far away as Peru. The Vatican's selfish hoarding of treasure has started to cause problems in our modern era. Not too long ago, the president of the Governorate of Vatican City State signed an agreement with the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Peru to hand back 3 Peruvian mummies taken by the Vatican in 1925. The remains were discovered at an altitude of over 8,000 feet, 2,987 meters, in the Peruvian Andes. They were likely victims of sacrifice, possibly part of the Inca Empire. However, because they were kept by the Vatican, scientists never studied them to learn how old they are, and for that reason, we know almost nothing about them. It's hard to say what other mysterious human remains the Vatican might be hiding. Mysteriously, they have been sending many mummies back to their countries of origin lately, but the true scope of treasure hoarded by the Vatican in their secret archive is anybody's guess. Number 4. Pirate attacks and corruption. A newly published set of documents from the Vatican's archives has revealed a bizarre medieval tale. The story involves a dead bishop's treasure, a pirate, and a pope. Charles Donahue Jr. from Harvard University said it's such a dramatic story that Hollywood could turn it into a movie, except nobody knows about it. The tale was only recently revealed for the first time, pieced together from bits of information hidden away in the Vatican. The medieval story begins in 1357 AD, when the ship known as the São Vicente set sail from Lisbon with its cargo filled with treasure. It was loaded with gold, silver, and all manner of artifacts that used to belong to Thibaut de Castellon, the bishop of Lisboa that had recently passed away. The bishop abused his position in such a way that he became filthy rich. When he died, the treasure was taken to Avignon in France to be handed over to Pope Innocent VI. However, the treasure would never arrive at its destination. The ship was attacked by a pair of pirate vessels while sailing off the coast of Spain. One of the pirates was Antonio Botafoc, and his last name loosely translates to Fire Blast. He and his crew were captured, while the second ship vanished with the majority of the treasure. Yet instead of being hanged as the law called for, the pirates managed to bribe their way out of trouble by paying off the Vatican's finance board. The little treasure that was recovered after the pirate attack was handed to the Pope, who used the gold and jewels as expensive gifts to various royals throughout Europe. Number 3. The Message of Fatima. On May 13, 1917, 3 Portuguese shepherds under the age of 10 were visited by the Virgin Mary. They would see her at least 5 more times until October of that same year. The Virgin Mary supposedly appeared to these 3 young children and bestowed them with a series of apocalyptic prophecies. These prophecies are now known as the 3 Secrets of Fatima, and while there's a lot of argument over whether these children truly did see visions of the future, the Vatican took the prophecies very seriously. It's the Vatican's firm belief that the Virgin Mary entrusted the 3 children with a trio of secrets. 2 of the secrets were revealed in 1941, the first of which was a vision of hell. The Virgin Mary showed the children a great sea of fire roaring under the earth. There were demons, souls, burning embers, burnished bronze, and great clouds of smoke. It was supposed to be a vision of the great abyss awaiting all those who have denounced the name of God. The second secret was a little more down to earth. The shepherds saw that World War I would end soon. However, they were given a glimpse of a future in which men continued to offend God. This prophecy ended with a prediction for a second world war. The third secret was kept hidden inside the Vatican until May 13, 2000. 83 years after the supposed apparition, the last secret was revealed. It has been interpreted differently by various popes and religious scholars, but the vision basically revealed that sometime in the near future the Pope, bishops, and priests would be massacred by soldiers. Some believe this is a foretold deluge of blood that will come before the second coming of Christ and the rapture. Number 2. Buried texts. Inside the Vatican is the Apostolic Library, also known as the Vatican Archives. This archive supposedly contains over 70,000 books and manuscripts that will never be released to the general public. This should not be confused with the Vatican Secret Archive, also known as the Vatican Apostolic Archive, which is completely different. The Apostolic Library is a collection of texts given to the popes throughout the years from wealthy families, donated by cities, or acquired from various libraries. It's located within the Vatican Palace and is the direct heir of the original library of the Roman popes. It was made separate from the secret archive in the 17th century by Pope Paul V. In the 1980s, researchers combing through the massive catalogue of texts discovered some fascinating manuscripts. They were hailed as hidden treasures, tucked away for centuries with nobody knowing they were there. Researchers discovered a prayer book from 1345, printed in Germany. This book was particularly fascinating because it was illustrated with colorful drawings of dragons, gargoyles, and other Gothic beasts. There was another collection of texts found from 1435 depicting the ritual slaughter of animals, which most people likely didn't know was still practiced by Christians in the 15th century. Researchers came across plenty of other ancient texts, including a Mishnah Torah printed in the 15th century and a hymn book from Naples printed in 1469. The hymn book is supposedly so small it fits in the palm of your hand. Much like the true secret archive, the texts in the library are difficult to reach. They are hidden behind a massive door underground that could double as a bank vault. Researchers are only allowed in after signing massive lists of rules and agreeing to certain unknown particulars. To this day, nobody truly knows what other secret documents could be hidden in the Vatican's library. Number 1. Mysterious frescoes. The room of Constantine at the Vatican is covered in scenes of soldiers, angelic cherubs, majestic popes, and even a dragon. Most of the figures were designed by master painter Raphael and completed by his students. But in 2015, during the room's renovation, Vatican art historians realized some of the figures in the room were painted by Raphael himself, not his students as previously believed. Specifically, 2 female figures located at the fresco's edges, a pair of women who represent justice and friendship, were painted by Raphael himself. The art historians figured this out because the two women were of a higher quality than all the art surrounding them. Upon further inspection, it was obvious that Raphael had done them himself. He even painted them using oil instead of water-based pigments like the figures in the rest of the room. This may not sound like a big deal, but it was a huge discovery in the world of art. These two new figures are like autographs from Raphael himself, left on the walls right before his death in 1520. However, it's still a total mystery what the significance of these women were 500 years ago, and why he only drew these two females is up for speculation. What kinds of secrets do you think are still hiding in the Vatican's secret corridors? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.